Hi everyone, you're on vrm24.com and today we're going to assemble Samsung Galaxy A34. First of all, we need to remove the card tray. To do this, we use a special tool inserted into the hole and carefully push out the combined tray for SIM cards and memory cards. After that, we need to heat the surface of the back cover to a temperature of approximately 70 Celsius degree or 160 degree Fahrenheit. For this, we use a heating mat. You can use a hair dryer. And after 5 to 7 minutes, we can move on to detaching the back cover. To remove the back cover, we use a thin plastic film. This film can be a film from a new display or a film from a stationery store. We carefully insert it into the gap between the back cover and the middle cover, carefully run the film along the side, cutting off the adhesive backing. We need to be careful as we have the back cover slightly recessed into the middle cover. We need to be careful in the camera area. We should be careful around the side buttons, so that we don't accidentally damage anything. After that, we need to unscrew the screws on the top. For this we use a 1.5 mm Phillips screwdriver or Phillips #30. It looks like all the screws are the same, but we nevertheless recommend placing them on a special surface in a certain order just in case. Then we need to detach the cover hiding the motherboard. This cover with antenna transmission lines. We carefully using a non-metal tool, we hook it in the right place, and of course it is really important for us to find this right place and detach the cover. So then also with a non-metallic tool we disconnect the battery connector. And we move on to unscrewing the screws at the bottom. The screws at the bottom also seem to be all the same, and we also recommend to place them on some special surface just in case. Then we need to detach the cover with a speaker at the bottom. We also find the right place where we can hook, gently lift and remove the cover. Taking our time, we find the right place, lift the cover and take it out. And as we can see, we have a cover without a speaker, and the speaker is located in the display frame. After that, we disconnect the connectors on the subboard and motherboard and remove the interboard cable. Then we disconnect the two coaxial cable connectors and release the cables themselves from the clips securing them to the subboard. We also disconnect the fingerprint sensor connector. Then, with a 1.5 mm Phillips screwdriver, we try to unscrew the screws securing the subboard. As we can see, it doesn't work, so we use a 2.0 mm Phillips screwdriver. We carefully unscrew the screws and place them separately because the screws are different from the previous ones, both in the color and size, of course. Well, we have removed all the screws and we still have to detach the glued connector on the subboard. To do this, we need to carefully pick up the connector from the one edge and carefully unglue it and turn its cable aside so that it doesn't interfere with us. And now we can carefully remove the subboard without any problems. On the subboard we have the charging port, microphone, And in the display frame we are left with a speaker, fingerprint sensor and vibration motor. Next, we move on to disconnecting the coaxial cable connectors on the motherboard. We carefully disconnect the connectors, and we can actually disconnect and remove the coaxial cables so that they don't get in our way. Then we can detach one of the rear cameras. It is better to hold the cameras by the base or by the cable so that they don't accidentally fly out and we don't damage the lenses. And we can also detach the front camera, just like that. After that, we can detach the motherboard. We find the right place where we can gently pry and remove the motherboard. We turn it over and disconnect the two rear cameras. We also hold the cameras so that they don't fall out and we don't damage anything. Okay, we carefully detach the cameras, remove the motherboard and remove the two rear cameras. In the display frame, as we can see, we have the earpiece speaker at the top. And we move on to detaching the battery. We need to unwrap the blue tab in the middle and the two transparent tabs around the edges so that they don't interfere with detaching the battery. However, as is often the case with this type of battery, if we just pull up on the blue tab, nothing happens, because the adhesive base of the battery is actually soldered to the battery, possibly due to temperature variations or extreme heat. So we try gently peeling back the tabs around the edges, pulling on the blue tab in the middle, but nothing works. So we take a thin tool, gently try to lift the battery in a few places. It is really important to be careful not to force the battery so as not to damage the battery shell. And as we can see, our actions cause the blue tab to come off. So we are going to try to lift up the battery, run a plastic card under the battery and carefully cut off the part that is soldered on so that we can detach the battery. Okay, we carefully run the plastic card along the side of the battery, back and forth, cutting off the adhesive part that is stuck, and of course try to carefully lift the battery. We try to gently lift the battery. We don't need to hurry, we don't need to force it, so that we don't accidentally damage the battery shell. And finally, we detach the battery. As we can see, under the battery we have an adhesive transparent coating and places where the battery we have soldered or very strongly held by this adhesive backing. So that is the end of our disassembly. Thank you for watching and see you around or in the new videos. Okay guys, now we're done. Thank you for watching. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, read our articles on our website. Take care of yourself, and until next video.